Shalom. Give honor and praise to YAHAWAH. BAHASHAM, Shabbat, QADASH. The one that's to the elders, apostle, great millstone, teaching with the truth and sincerity. Citation is hopeful that spread the forecast of the Lord. This is my data verse entitled, or not a data verse, Slakia. No, that's entitled The Hammer of the Whole Earth. The Hammer of the Whole Earth. And who is that referring to? That refers to Esau. Okay. The biblical Edomites. Okay. Modern day, which is the modern day so-called white people, right? America, no, just like beast, okay? Revelation, or it's not Revelation, right? The beast, okay? And on that beast was the great whore, a great whore, okay? The great whore referring to America, which Bible the beast referring to the Edomite nations, right? Romans, okay, the UK, so forth and so on. So this lesson was inspired by this operation that took place, called Operation Midnight Hammer, right? Which is, every brother, every president should know about this by now. But it basically, it was a mission against nuclear sites in Iran, right? And it's spiritual that this operation is called Midnight Hammer, okay? Because it all go back to who this represents, right? The biblical representation, right? Y'all go back to the symbolism, okay? So I got here, let me get here, Proverbs 21:1. It reads, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As a river of waters, he turneth it whithersoever he will, okay? The king heart, right? The king mind, his thought process, right? It is in the hand of the Lord, Yahawashai. He controls the mind of the thought process and the mind of a king, or which represent your presidents, okay? Which the Lord put it on, DJT, right? To carry out this operation, right? Against Iran's nuclear sites. So that would happen, okay? It ultimately to bring forward prophecies, right? Because we're getting in the time of where the MOTB has been taught more and more, digital currency has been taught more and more, okay? And the Lord, he's making these things happen to store up, to store up enemies against the United States, okay, against America. So I got here Jeremiah 50:23 reads, how the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Okay, the hammer of the whole earth, right? Now the word hammer, or the hammer represent, a nation, right? Which is nation at this point. It's talking about Babylon, right? Which ultimately represent America, right? Represent their oppressive and power, okay, amongst the nations. Okay. And the hammer used to what? Subjugate or control. Subjugate and control. Now let me look the word subjugate up. Subjugate. Bring on the domination or control, especially by conquest, right? So, this operation, sovereign, the reason why they carried out this operation, Midnight Hammer, was to deter and stop Iran, which is a sovereign nation, not under any other nation control at that, from developing nuclear weapons capabilities. Now, it does not go back to Jeremiah 50:23, right? Subjugate, okay? Subjugate means to bring under control and governance as a subject or to make submissive, right? Okay. Here's some similar words: bring someone to their knees, okay? And that was the whole point of this mission, right? To bring Iran to their knees and to basically have them stop, you know, attacking Israel and stop, building but developing nuclear capabilities, you know. So here was a strike. It was strike against the Iran nuclear sites at Fordo, okay, Natanz, and Isfahan, okay. It was a B-2 fighter or B-2 plane that we use, which is a bomber plane, a plane used to carry bombs. So how the hammer of the earth collapsed on and broke in. So the Lord, this was gonna happen to Babylon, Esau, right? He's gonna be breaking. He's gonna be broke, right? The Lord is about to break this war. He's about to rattle up all these all Babylon, all American enemies, right? You have Russia, China, North Korea, okay, Iran, okay, you know, and they're gonna shoot nuclear weapons on this war, okay. Even American own allies are gonna turn against this war. How Babylon become a desolation among the heathens? So this is ultimately, reference in the future, this future Babylon, right? The Great Babylon. Okay. The Great Babylon, which is more great than the one that was before it. Okay. This is Isaiah 10:15. Read, shall the ass boast itself against him that heweth thereof, right? So the ass is referring to what? The nations, right? That's been controlled by him that heweth, which refers to the Lord, YAHAWASHI. Or should the saw magnify itself against him that's shaken it? Can the saw, okay, grow proud or get proud, against him that shaken it, meaning him that, the Lord, right? So this ultimately symbolism or dark sand represent what these nations are, mainly America, right? Esau, okay, is growing proud against the Lord, okay, you know, as if the rod should shake itself against him that lifted up, or as the staff should lift up itself as if it were no wood, you know, okay. So this represent what? The nations, they're nothing, all right. They don't have a kingdomship. They don't have a dominionship. They don't have a rulership without the Lord, Yahweh. Okay, go back to Proverbs 21. There's also another piece of how the Lord He set up whomsoever He will, right? Even the basis of men. And going back to Daniel's, okay, the Lord He ruled in the kingdoms of men. Just get that. Daniel 4:17. All right. So this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand by the word of the Holy One, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of man and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. Okay. So this is, so going back to Isaiah 10:15. Okay. It's a Lord that controls, it's the Lord that controls everything. Okay. The Lord, he's always in control. He always, you know, directing. Okay, what goes on in the kingdom of man. Okay, and the nations like America, they're boasting proud, right? They're magnifying themselves great against the Lord. Okay, and eventually the Lord gonna what? He gonna destroy. The Lord suits in what Revelation says, the sins of Babylon have reached unto heaven, and the Lord have remembered iniquities. So eventually, which represent what their pride, they proudful states, right? And also, what they did against his chosen people. Slavery, for example. So the Lord, they're gonna pay that back. Okay, and they're gonna pay it back, through destruction, right? They'll get paid back through destruction, right? Nuclear fire. All right, so I'm gonna close it here by going all unglorious praises to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH. To next time, say shalom.